Hi, Kinders. I'm going to read you a Dr. Seuss story. So I have this treasury. It has 6 Dr. Seuss stories in it. I really had a hard time. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read Yertle the Turtle. That's one of my favorites. Or Horton Hatches the Egg. So I thought about it and I decided to read Horton Hatches an Egg. Because if I had to choose one, it would be Horton. So Horton, this is called the table of contents. When there are storybooks that have more than one story in it, they have a table of contents. Contents is just a big word for that means what's in the book. So in this book, here are all the stories. And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street starts on page 10. The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins starts on page 44. And Horton Hatches an Egg starts on page 92. So I'm going to find page 92 because I'm going to read Horton Hatches an Egg. Wow, it was published in 1940. I didn't know that. 92. Here's 92. So this is Horton. Horton is an elephant. Something I like to ask my kids when I read stories, is this story for your head? That means you've never heard of it. And this is the first time that you're going to hear the story, so you're reading it for your head to find out what happens. Or is it for your heart? It's a story you love, so you read it all the time. So this story is for my heart because I love this story. And I think I've read it hundreds of times already. First to Marcus and Nick, and then to all my kinders. Ready? Here we go. Sighed Maisie, the lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored. I have a kink in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I take a vacation. I fly off for a rest. If I could just find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I could fly away free. So that's Maisie. And here's her egg. And this is her nest in a tree. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You have nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all the silly things, I haven't got feathers. I haven't got wings. Me on your egg? Well, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come on, be a good fellow. I know you don't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back while I'll never be missed. Do you think elephant's going to do it? You think Horton's going to sit on the egg? Very well, said the elephant. Since you insist, you want to go on vacation, go fly off and take it. I will sit on your egg and try not to break it. I will stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang Maisie as she fluttered away. Oh, she's flying away already. She's so excited. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree. I have to make it much stronger. That has to be done before I can get on it. I must weigh a ton. So he's putting these sticks to make the tree stronger. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat there all day. He kept the egg warm. He sat there at night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightning, it thundered and it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. Oh my goodness, look at the storm. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach and having such fun, such a wonderful rest. She decided she was never going to go back to her nest. Oh no. So Horton kept sitting day after day, and soon it was autumn and all the leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet. Sleet means ice. And the icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting, and he said with a sneeze, "Achoo! I'll stay on this egg. I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered around, and they shouted with glee, "Look, look, Horton, the elephant is up in a tree." They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, "How absurd! Old Horton, the elephant, he thinks he's a bird." Aw. They laughed and they laughed and they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on the egg and he continued to say, "I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful 100%. All his friends left. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far from ended. For while he sat there so faithful and so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly from behind. He heard the men's footstep. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming straight for his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high. He threw out his chest and he looked the hunters, as much as to say, "Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful 100%. So brave. But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns and they stared with wide eyes. "Look!" they shouted. "Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange. It's amazing. It's wonderful and new. Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. We'll take him alive because he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for so much money." Oh no. And the first thing he knew, they built a big wagon with ropes on the front and pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside. With Horton so sad, he practically cried. "We're off," the men shouted, and off they went, with Horton unhappy 100%. Up out of the jungles, up into the sky, over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down the mountain, down to the sea, went the cart with the elephant, the egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and into a ship and over the ocean. Oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashing with spray. And Horton said day after day, "I meant what I said. I said what I meant. But oh, I'm so seasick 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in a town called New York. "All ashore," the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on the perch, tied onto a board that he scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then those men sold him. Sold him to a circus. Then week after week, they showed him to people for 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston and Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too, to Daytona, Ohio, to St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere, thousands of folks came to see and laugh at the elephant in the tree. Poor Horton, he grew sadder each day. He went and he said, in the noisy hot tent, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful 100%. Then one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up there in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags and tent below, she sang out, "Oh, what fun! Well, I'll go see a show." And she swooped down from the clouds through the open tent door. "Goodness gracious," said Maisie, "I've seen you before." Poor Horton looked up. His face was white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, ear-splitting squeak from the egg that he sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg is hatching!" Wow, it's hatching, finally. "But it's mine!" screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. All the work was done now, and she wanted it back. "It's my egg," she sputtered. "You stole it from me! Get off of my nest! Get off of my tree!" Poor Horton backed down with a sad and heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg bursted apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that he sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's this all about?" They looked, they stared, with their eyes popping out. And then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They've never seen anything like this before. "My goodness, my gracious," they shouted. "My word, this is something new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat on his set and sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent Horton home happy 100%. And the baby Horton bird went with him. The end. Did you guys like this story? It's a fun story. Thank you for listening with me. I will see you next time. Bye, Kinders.